everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Crack That, turning problems into solutions. Today in this video we'll be taking up another category of critical reasoning, which is weakening the argument. Now the most interesting thing out here is to identify how are you going to know that it is a weakening the argument question only. When the question comes real simple in the first way, like you can see the first question stem, which mentions that which of the following, if true, most seriously weakens the argument above. So here we can easily see that the word weaken exists, so we can understand that we have to go against the argument mentioned in the paragraph. But there are some other stems also, question stems, which might not directly use the word weaken but totally have the same meaning. And the reason why I am taking up these different question stems is because if you are targeting XAT, GRE, GMAT type of examinations, then they really try to dig deep into your vocabulary and check if you understand the meaning of the words or not. This question would be simple, but the way they would ask it would be a bit different and vocabulary oriented. So let's find out what are the possible question stems which you can get when the real question is weakening the argument. The second question stem says, if true, casts the most doubt on the conclusion. You see, that means if you're casting doubt on the conclusion already mentioned in the paragraph or passage, then that means that you are weakening the argument. So this also means weakening the argument. Similarly, the third one is, which of the following, if true, most calls into question the claim above. Calling into question, that means questioning what is already mentioned. And that is somewhat taking it to a negative stance, that is weakening the argument itself. Which of the following, if known, is most damaging to the conclusion above? Again, damaging, negative words. So it refers to weakening the argument only. Which of the following, if true, is evidence that contradicts the hypothesis above? You know, one small tip, it's not applicable everywhere though, but just letting you know that if something negative comes out like this, you can take the first wild guess to be a weakening type question only. Now, another question stem says, which of the following, if discovered, would be the evidence against the speculation above? Now, evidence against is a word here to note. The speculation above is whatever been mentioned or stated above. Now, the next stem is, which of the following, if true, would refute the author's conclusion? Refuting means not agreeing with, so disagreeing with. So you can just understand that here we are talking about weakening type questions only. Which of the following, if true, would challenge the author's argument? Challenging, refuting, questioning, damaging, all these terms are nothing but weakening the argument. Which of the following, if true, would counter the claims made in the above? Now, countering some claims is, questioning back or just cutting it through, so that again means weakening the argument. Which of the following, if true, would attack the conclusion? Again, attack the conclusion. So it's easy to guess if you check through the question stems. These are the question stems which you will generally get in the XAT examination, because XAT examination, again I'll repeat, that it focuses on your vocabulary. How much do you know about the words? Do you know the word, the meaning of refute? Do you know the meaning of counter? Do you know the meaning of contradict, etc.? So the thing will be same. And if you really see, I'll pick up a question from the previous XAT paper, and you will see that it's not even a paragraph, it's just 2 lines, and using the 2 lines you need to get the question. But it might be the scenario that instead of directly writing weakening the argument, they will use any of the following question stems given to you on the screen right now. So you have to be mentally prepared that you have to understand the question first, the first theory, the first way of doing it, and the second way is to get down to the question. Now, what is the approach which we will build for weakening argument type questions? The first thing is, first, which I already told, read the question stem carefully and try to identify what you need to do here, because sometimes you need to strengthen, sometimes you need to find an analogous parallel reasoning, Sometimes you need to weaken, sometimes you need to infer, etc. But this is the first step of any critical reasoning question. You need to identify the question. And the second step is forming a shadow answer. Now, what's the shadow answer? The shadow answer is basically a temporary answer which you have framed in your mind, and this will act as the reference point for your first option. Now, the shadow answer plays an important role only till the first option, and the reason for that is because in the first option, once you get the first option, you can compare it with your shadow answer and then check whether it is on the lines or completely out of scope. For example, I'll take a question and then we will talk about the procedure as well. So here you see the question is only a two-liner question, and mind you, it's a ZAT previous year paper, so you will expect these questions in ZAT. Now, there are two lines. We have planned development with a view to raising the standard of living of our teeming millions. So the first line implies that they are planning to develop things in regard or with a view of raising the standard of living of the people. So these are some important things you need to focus on in the first line. Hence means a conclusion. So they have already given a conclusion in this passage. You see, our economic development is inspired by social justice. All right. So what can be the shadow answer over here? We don't need to identify anything because it's a clear-cut question that which of the following weakens the argument. So we don't need to identify anything here. We just need to focus on the part that what is our shadow answer. Our shadow answer is seemingly related to economic development, which has been planned to increase the standard of living. So you can just arrange it in a form saying that economic development is necessary, okay, or is being planned for what? For raising the standard of living here. Okay, this is something which I framed in my mind reading these two lines. This is my shadow answer. Now I'll use my shadow answer to compare the options given to me, and therefore if I find any option which is better than my shadow answer or in line with my shadow answer, then I will shift my reference point to the that option. Let's check the first option. Without the economic development, standard of living cannot be raised. Okay, I just forgot to mention one thing. This is my shadow answer, which is the correct answer. Correct in the sense the something which I understood right, which would strengthen the argument. But what's the question? Going against, weaken. The question is weakening. So I have to go against this things which I have written over here. So if I want to go against this, then in that case, let's see which one is going against this. Without the economic development, standard of living cannot be raised. All right. So I think that this is in line with what I have already framed on the right hand side of my screen, that if there will be no economic development, there will be no standard of living. So yes, it is in line with what I have decided. So it's definitely not weakening the argument. So never, it's not going to be my answer. Now, this just reminds me of a beautiful thing called logical deductions. It's equally important in the verbal reasoning section of ZAT and the other examinations as well. I'll be coming up with one video on logical deductions, where you must have seen questions like he went to the party, she went to the party, and then reverse statements like who went to the party kind of things. We'll do those questions also in the upcoming videos. Now, here's the next option. Social justice implies economic prosperity. Now, you see, inspired by social justice, economic development. Economic development can also be called as economic prosperity. So, can we say that social justice implies it? Very much yes. It is in line with what I framed, and therefore I can say that it is not weakening but rather strengthening my point. So, not my answer. Now, the last option, development cannot be planned. This is a perfect answer we were searching for, which weakens the argument because we have already mentioned that this development is planned. Planned development, economic development. So, economic development is planned. And if it's already mentioned it's planned, how can you say that it cannot be planned? So, this stands out to be my answer because this weakens my argument. So this is the procedure of how you will go around with these critical reasoning questions. Now, because I showed you all the above question stems at the top, so I would like to also take you through another question, but I'll be covering up the answer in the next video. What I'll do is I'll just give you a glimpse of the question right now. You can take a screenshot of this question and try it on your own. Let me know in the comment section if you get the answer. And just the next video after this will be a solution video for this question where I'll be discussing the answer and the approach of solving this. But just a reminder that when you people solve it, try to identify what you have to do here. Do you need the inference here? Do you need the conclusion here? Do you need to strengthen the argument? Or do you know to weaken? Do you have to weaken the argument? Now I know my intelligent bunch of subscribers would be like, if you have included this question under weakening argument video, of course we have to weaken the argument. That's true actually. But yeah, make sure you take a screenshot of this, try it on your own, and just wait for the next video when I'll be up with the solution so that you can just check your answers with mine and at the same time see the approach of handling these questions. So if you do find this video useful, please like this video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe the channel if you're new to this. And until we meet again, please take care and thanks for watching.